Hey guys, Tammy and Jill's here, and welcome to the Lure Bench, where we test lures and give you our unbiased and honest review.
On today's episode, we'll be taking a closer look at the BUKU Slow Sink H stick bait.
Alrighty guys, let's jump in and take a closer look.
This is how the BUKU comes straight off the shelf with zero packaging. There's not much to see from on top, but as we come around the side, we see a nice sticker that covers the entire side of the bait, throws off a lot of light, and has really nice details with a very chrome mirror-like finish. And on bottom, we have a belly swivel rather than a through wire. The BUKU Slow Sink H is available at selected Tackle World stores or available online. It's only available in two different colors and retails for $64.99. Weighs 80 grams. And according to the website, these are handmade Indonesian timber stick bait. And since it comes unrigged, let's go ahead and do that now. For today's casting test, I'll be using my PE6 Seacor rod, Daiwa Surte 10K, spool with Ammonite PE8 casting braid. A PE4 or 5 would also be appropriate for this lure. On this day, we had a consistent breeze blowing from right to left and slightly in front of us. The first cone starts at 50 meters away from where I'm casting, with a cone every 5 meters from there. We managed to pull out 3 fairly consistent casts, obviously the wind catching a hold of it a little bit and pulling it to the side. Sinking lures tend to cast a bit better than floating lures, however, this is only 80 grams. What you're seeing here is a high-speed continual wind, which gives us a really fast side-to-side action. This sort of high-speed action can be great for exciting the fish and triggering the bite. Here we're giving it more of a moderate-paced wind. Here we're giving it some short, sharp jabs. And again, we get that nice erratic kick from the tail. Maybe it's due to those heavy raptor hooks and larger split rings that we put on it. The sink rate is fairly fast, which is great if you're trying to get the lure down deeper. However, it may get you snagged when fishing shallower.
Alrighty guys, so just a quick recap. These stick baits are exclusive to Tackle World Australia and only available at selected stores. So make sure you ring the store you want to buy from and check if it's in stock first.
So for castability, the lure was very consistent. The 80 grams there is at the bottom end of that PE6 that I was using for casting, so a PE5 would probably be a little bit more appropriate when using this lure. During our swim test, we found that giving it a good medium to fast-paced wind got the best erratic action.
This stick bait is labelled as a slow sink, but we were surprised how fast it actually did sink, so keep that in mind when you're choosing where to fish it. Alrighty guys, let's get into our torture tests, starting with the shake test.
After 15 minutes in the shaker, we can see damage done from the casting test as the lure slammed into the sand, and there is actually a fair amount of hook rash all over this lure, but the epoxy coating seems to be intact. Hopefully this represents how your lure may look at the end of a day's fishing. As the BUKU is intended to target large prairie species, our goal for today's test will be 200 pounds. As you can clearly see at this point, the wire started to pull through and I was about to stop. However, as it was holding pressure, I thought, let's just keep going, and we managed to reach our goal of 200 pounds. I was a little nervous to test the belly swivel after that nose had already pulled out so far. I paused here as the belly swivel had started to push into the timber lure. At 194 pounds, the lure was no longer holding tension and the wire just continued to pull through.
Alrighty, so after seeing that footage and seeing the through wire on the nose and the belly swivel start to fail at around the 100-pound mark, we would recommend sticking to the suggested terminal of a 7 split ring and a 3/0 treble hook.
Sticking to those recommended terminals should hopefully avoid any damage to the lure. So one of the good things about a belly swivel on a lure like this is it allows the hook to rotate, so you don't get that torsion, because what can happen with your split rings is they can lock up with your hook and actually snap a lot easier. The belly swivel allows that to rotate. However, as we saw there, it actually dug into the timber, causing a weak point in the lure. I personally found when rigging this also, the belly swivel makes it a little trickier, a little bit more difficult to get that belly split ring on.
All right, let's jump back into testing.
To replicate a hot day in the sun, we left it underneath the heat lamp for approximately 15 minutes and topped out at a temperature of 68 degrees, at which point there was 0 damage to the epoxy coating or lifting from the stickers.
Alrighty guys, so let's jump into our bite test. Now, we designed this test to replicate the damage done by large predatory fish. Since this is our first time testing a timber stick bait, we are really looking forward to seeing how this lure holds up.
A reminder of how things started and what it looks like after our testing. From on top, we see that light scratching from the castability test and the hook rashing from the shaker test. As we come around the side, we get a better look at the damage done from the bite test. At the tail end, we've had a whole flake of epoxy come off and some heavy dinting. The head end also copped a good scratch and a solid dint. And from the belly, I don't know if this shows up on camera, but the swivel has cracked through that epoxy and started digging into the timber. Having a quick look at the other side, we see more damage from the bite test and even a bit of timber poking through.
Alrighty, so that is the first good bit of damage we've actually seen on a stick bait.
I'm not going to lie, that was really entertaining to see the epoxy as it came off like a glitter just falling down in the slow-mo.
Yeah, we definitely look forward to testing a few more timber stick baits on the channel. One downfall about using timber stick baits is once the epoxy and the paint comes off, water can ingress into the timber and the timber can swell, which means it can affect its castability, its durability, and its action in the water. So after all our testing, we believe that this stick bait would be good whether you're fishing from the shore or the boat. For you southerners down south, it might be good for tuna, kingfish, mahi-mahi. For us northerners up in North Queensland, coral trout, red-throat emperor. If there are bigger GTs or toothy critters around, you'll find that the stick bait may take a bit of damage though.
That's all we've got for today's episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you use these stick baits before, let us know what your thoughts are and what species you use them for. We'd be really interested to hear what your thoughts are.
Massive thank you to Danny and Renee at Tackle World Townsville for supporting our channel and for providing the lure for today's testing. Like and subscribe guys to keep up to date with all of our future videos, and we will see you in the next video.
You're right there. One last thing before we go, since some of you asked for more destruction, we have a little treat for those of you that stuck around till the end of the episode. Enjoy the next part.